Hey YouTube. So, quick video about unblocking kegs. So this is the quick version of the video. If you've got a blocked up ball valve keg, it could be a number of reasons and possibly more than one reason. So things you want to check is the outpost dip valve, dip tube itself, the ball valve on the keg. You should be able to, I think it's like a 20mm spanner, take the top off of that. That allows you then to take the dip tube out, and the quick disconnect for the outpost for the beer, and then potentially the line to the tap, and then depending on what tap you've got, potentially the tap as well. So those are the things you want to check. Well, that was the waffle-free version. A bit more waffle in this. I'm going to take you through exactly where the items I've just mentioned are on the keg, how to take them off, a bit like a fault-finding guide, and eventually what it is you've got to do to get your beer pouring again. Cheers. So, have you got a blocked ball valve keg? Mine's built by AEB. I used an SS Chronicle for the first time. I managed to dump all the trub, clearly not all of the trub, most of the trub out the bottom of it. I've collected some yeast, enjoyed the whole process, brilliant piece of kit. However, I was so eager to get it into the keg to taste it that I've ended up transferring some of the trub, some of the dry hop matter over into the keg. So I've had the keg apart 7 times now. What I don't want to have to do is transfer the beer from one keg to another keg, because it's a lot of faff and I worry that I'm going to infect it in the process. Probably would have been easier than me completely stripping the outpost 7 or 8 times, whatever it's been now. So I've stripped it now, I've re-sanitized everything, I've built everything back up again, and I'm just going to turn everything on and see if it's clear. I'm assuming it's not going to be clear, and then we're going to go from there. Down. So, got myself a glass here ready to go. What a surprise. Beer in the line, but not all the way. No beer in the glass, or in my face, which is where the beer should be. So, I'm going to strip it down, and then we'll have a little look at what the problems are. First thing you want to do, turn your gas off. The gas is off here. That means we've got some gas in the line still. That's totally fine. You can just disconnect that post. Store over there. Next thing you want to do is take this off, so that when you release the pressure on the pressure relief valve on your keg, any debris, detritus from the your line from your tap doesn't start to flow back down the post again. So I'm going to take this off now, he says. Little bit of crap in there. Got an adjustable. First thing you want to do, release the pressure on the keg. I turn that pressure relief valve like that so that any gas that's still in still dissolved in there doesn't start to come back out again. You don't start to build up a pressure, because then you can build foam up and you get foam out of your outpost. You don't want to do that. Here we go. You can see all the hot matter there, and you can see it all in there as well. So
ball valve needs a thorough cleaning. The dip tube can be removed by just lifting it up. Here. That whole tube goes all the way down to the very bottom, so all you need to do is take that off and then that tube comes out.
Right, so you need to start cleaning the stuff, cleaning some of the trub out. I use a toothpick because it's small enough you can get in there. Just get in, mix it up, get some of that crap out, and then give it a rinse under the tap. Don't know if you can see, but right down in there, there's still some. So that's down where the ball valve actually is. So I'm going to need to get the toothpick right in there. So nice and clean now, or clear rather. Next thing you do, you want to make sure you sanitize it. Right, so there's a little bit of a knack to this next bit. What I'm going to do is take the dip tube out of the keg, and it's got debris in it. Also, there could be quite a lot of trub or debris left in the bottom of the keg. So if you've got any open-ended line in any fluid, if you cover the top of it and lift it out, depending on the size of the aperture, if it's too wide you won't get it. If it's narrow enough, then surface friction will help the fluid stick in the line, and you'll be able to remove the line or the dip tube with all of the fluid or debris still in it, rather than just taking it out and then the rest of the stuff falls back into the keg. So what you want to do is cover the end of the line with your finger, and then with your other finger and thumb pull the line up. So you can see I'm covering it, and I'm pulling the line out. I'm going to use this glass. And then if you release your finger, you get a little squirt of all the crap. Have a little look at that. Loads of stuff. Probably quite tasty stuff in fairness, but it's blocking up your valve, so you want to get rid of it. So again, the next thing you want to do is clean the dip tube out. You want to make sure you sanitize the, I'm going to clean the inside of it out by running cold water through it. So because it's cold water, it's not been sanitized, you need to make sure you sanitize the inside of it again. I'm not going to do that for half an hour, that's just ridiculous. It's only just been flushed with water really quickly. So I'm going to flush it through with Star San really quickly, spray the outside of it because I'm going to handle it in the process. Make sure that the little seal that's underneath the lip there is nice and clean, and there's nothing holding that off of the rest of the keg, because that will be a gas escapement issue. And then locate that back in your hole. Sanitized dipstick. I've sanitized the post. You want to slot it back in again without having to touch the rest of it. That goes down on there. Now, depending on how pressurized your beer is, when you drop this, you could get some foam very quickly trying to rush up and out of this dipstick. So, once you've put this in, you want to get that ball valve on there too, sweet. So, on. Can't see it rushing up, but it is on. Nip that back up again. Okay, that's tight. Make sure you drop your pressure relief back on again.
you can reconnect your gas. However, there's still quite a lot of hot matter in this section of line, which means there's going to be hot matter in your quick disconnect. You can take that screw piece off and then you can get to the mechanism inside. So let's do that. Right, so we've got the quick disconnect, handy little slotted hole in the top of the cap there. You can take that off. There's some hot matter in and around that. You want to make sure that seal gets cleaned and then reseated correctly when you put it back in again. But then if we can see properly, down in there, there's still quite a lot of hops. Well, hot matter anyway. So all that wants to come out. Yeah. So in there, you've got the spring, and then you've got the pin that acts as the ball lock. Give them a clean, give the quick disconnect a clean, give this a clean, give it all a sanitize, and then screw it all back together. So when it comes around to reassembly, you've got your quick disconnect, you've got the piece that acts as the ball. On one end, it's got a chamfer and an O-ring. You can just see that there. On this end, it's long and narrow. That's where the spring sits on top of that. And then you've got this O-ring, which sits inside this little lip here on the retaining cap. In that order, everything goes back together again. And there you go. Finished reassembled article. The way to make sure it's gone down completely and all of the seals are all seated properly is this removable cap section should be flush with the top of the quick disconnect. If it's not, or you had to put undue pressure on it, then you've not reassembled it correctly. So we've got the reassembled article. We're going to stick it back on the outpost of the keg. Making sure your lock and collar seats properly. So, reassembled, pressure relief valve down, everything's been cleaned, sanitized, reassembled. We've got the gas reconnected. We want to make sure we've got that on. That's on, 5 psi again, still. And we'll have another try. Surprise, surprise. Some beer in the line. Not all the way through the line. So again, got another blockage. Now, at this point, it's completely up to you. This is possibly the 7th or 8th time now I'm going to have to disconnect all of that, go through the whole process again, strip everything down, clean all of the stuff back out of it, and do it again. I've been at this for maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours. However, I don't like giving up on stuff, so I'm going to keep at it. It's up to you whether you want to do that or whether you just want to get a hose, something like this, something nice and fat, a larger inside diameter on it, thumb for comparison. If you can get that with a bit of muslin over the end of it, then you'll be able to transfer, dip the end with the muslin on it into the keg that's full of beer, transfer it, as long as it's not right down on the bottom, transfer it into the other keg. You'll probably achieve it. It'll probably be faster. However, I'm like a dog with a bone with these kind of things, so I like to get it fixed. So I'm going to keep at it, but there you go. That's how to unblock ball valve keg if you've been a bit too eager, or maybe you've not been a bit too eager, maybe there's just been some hops in there, some late additions, and everything's got blocked up. Yeah, so I've just got one last point. one thing to remember is if you keep on stripping down your keg, or indeed any assembly that's got an O-ring or a gasket in it, the more you strip it and rebuild it, the more times you're putting pressure on the O-rings, and the more likely you are to tear them. So only keep doing that if you have replacements, or you have something else you can do. I can move my beer to another keg. I know the other keg's good, which is why I'm keeping doing this. If it didn't, I've got some replacement O-rings upstairs. If it didn't have any, I wouldn't be doing this, and I'd be going straight for the siphon option. So yeah, think of that as well.